Archangel Michael says. A famous celebrity, one whose face is known in every corner of the world, let your name slip into a conversation during a private legal meeting. This was not a meeting you were invited to. You weren't sitting at the table. You weren't even supposed to know it happened. Yet heaven made sure you would. Why? Because when your name is carried into places you have not entered, there is more at stake than just words. It is your reputation, your destiny, your very identity that is being weighed and discussed by those who think they have the power to shape the course of your life without your permission. Think about that for a moment. Imagine men and women in suits leaning across polished tables, whispering about strategies, signing agreements, making plans, and in the middle of their hushed voices, your name rises. The sound of it echoes in a space you never walked into. You were not supposed to hear it, but heaven saw that you did. This is no small matter. When your name is mentioned in circles of influence, something spiritual is happening. Names are not random, they are the essence of identity. To invoke your name is to invoke your presence. And so, the fact that this celebrity placed your name on the table of legal power is no accident, it is a sign. Archangel Michael says, do not dismiss this revelation. Your name has been carried into rooms that you did not enter by human invitation, but by divine design. For there is a spiritual battle over who claims ownership of your name, your reputation, and your future. Pause and let this truth sink in. Someone is trying to take authority over your name. They are trying to link it to something bigger than you, something that could either tarnish you in scandal or lift you into a place of recognition you never thought possible. But before that hidden decision is sealed, you are being warned. Type Amen 9495 to get blessings. Heaven does not allow its children to be blindsided. That is why you are reading this right now. Because if you did not know, you would be left defenseless. And what is whispered in secret would suddenly erupt into your life like a storm you never saw coming. But heaven is pulling back the curtain before it happens, so you may not be caught off guard. Beloved, ask yourself, why would someone with fame, wealth, and worldly power need to involve you in their private dealings? Why would your name be of value to them? The answer is layered, but understand this. There is something about you that is recognized, even in places of influence. Something about your destiny that has drawn attention. They are not just speaking your name because it is convenient, they are speaking it because it carries weight. And now, heaven declares, do not fear. Though they whispered your name in secret, I, the Lord, proclaim your name in light. No hidden meeting, no closed-door plan, no celebrity power can undo the truth I have spoken over you. You belong to me, and your name is written in the book of destiny that no hand can erase. This is just the beginning. The whisper of your name was not the end, it was the opening of a much greater unfolding. Archangel Michael says. Now that you know your name has been whispered in a room you never entered, let me take you deeper into what was really at stake. This is not merely a conversation. What unfolded in that secret legal meeting was tied to a contract, a document that carries your name in ways you never gave permission for. But here is the dangerous truth, this contract is not ordinary. It has the weight to shift your future in one of two extreme directions. On one hand, it could destroy your reputation in ways that leave you struggling to defend yourself against lies, accusations, or fraudulent connections. On the other hand, it could elevate you into a position of influence and visibility you never imagined, opening doors that were once locked to you. This is why it feels so unsettling. Because it isn't just paper and ink, it's power. A contract, beloved, is more than a legal agreement. In the spiritual realm, contracts symbolize covenants, alignments, and destinies being tethered together. And this hidden contract tied to your name was drafted with an agenda. It is double-edged, and how it manifests in your life depends not on their will, but on your alignment with heaven. Type Amen 59495 to get blessings. Archangel Michael speaks, they think they hold the pen, but heaven holds the ink. What they attempt to sign against you, heaven can overturn. What they try to link you with, heaven can sever. And what is meant to bless you, heaven can seal in your favor. Think of the subtlety here. To the world, it looks like a legal maneuver, a matter of paperwork, a signature. But spiritually, it is warfare. The enemy loves contracts because they bind. If he can attach your name to something corrupt, he binds your reputation to shame. If he can attach your name to something fraudulent, he binds your future to consequences you never chose. Yet God always has the final say. Remember this, your true contract was already written before you were born. Heaven signed it with divine purpose and sealed it with covenant. No earthly agreement can cancel what God has already established. The danger lies only if you become fearful, unaware, or careless. That is why heaven pulled back the curtain now, to keep you awake, watchful, and aligned with truth. Beloved, pause and consider, why do you think this celebrity and their circle want your name involved in their hidden document? Could it be because they see your name as leverage? Could it be because your reputation carries purity and weight, and by attaching it to themselves, they appear untouchable? Or could it be that in heaven's design, this attempted trap will actually become the very thing that propels you forward into influence you never sought but are destined for? Take courage in this mystery. God often allows what looks like a curse to become a blessing. Joseph was bound in contracts of betrayal, sold into slavery by his own brothers, accused falsely by the powerful, and yet, every binding was reversed. The very signatures meant to hold him down became stepping stones to his throne. Do not fear this contract. The ink that attempts to destroy you will dry powerless. What is not yours will be struck out. What belongs to you will be sealed by heaven's decree. No hidden clause can overrule the covenant of God over your life. And so, stand strong. Your name may be on their papers, but your destiny is in God's hands. This contract is not the end, it is the battlefield where victory is about to unfold. Type Amen 4954 to get blessings. Archangel Michael says, now you see that a hidden contract exists, tethered to your name without your consent. But you must also understand the mind behind this, why a famous celebrity, someone with all the wealth and influence they could ever desire, would risk bringing your name into their secret legal dealings. This is no accident. It is not coincidence. This is agenda. Celebrities live in a world where image is everything. They know the power of association. To link themselves to a respected name, even one that is quiet, unnoticed by the masses, can serve as a shield for their own hidden actions. And sometimes, beloved, the enemy will use your purity as camouflage for someone else's corruption. Think about this. Why would someone who doesn't know you personally mention you in a room full of lawyers? Why would they speak your name with such intentionality? It is because you represent something they do not have: credibility, innocence, and divine favor. They cannot buy these qualities, so they try to borrow them. And in their attempt to borrow, they risk entangling you in their web. Archangel Michael speaks, child, be wise. They do not call your name because they love you. They call it because they need what your name carries. They want to cloak themselves in your light to hide their darkness. Yet the agenda goes even deeper. Some who rise to power sense intuitively that destiny is shifting. They fear losing their throne, losing their influence. In such fear, they look for a successor, someone unexpected, someone whose destiny is secretly aligned with greater authority. And in this case, beloved, it may very well be you. Could it be that heaven is turning the tables? Could it be that what began as an attempt to use you as a pawn is actually heaven's way of revealing your hidden crown? Remember, King Saul feared David long before David even understood his own kingship. Saul saw in David what David himself could not yet see. The same is happening here. Someone with worldly fame has glimpsed your divine potential, and they are unsettled by it. Type Amen 4955 to get blessings. That is why your name slipped from their lips. That is why it was carried into that room. Not only because of what they want to hide, but because of what they fear will be revealed, that your destiny carries weight beyond their own. Beloved soul, this is why the moment feels so tense. On one hand, they are plotting to cover themselves by attaching you to their schemes. On the other hand, unknowingly, they are confirming what heaven has already decreed, that your name is destined to rise. Pause and ask yourself, how many times in your life have others tried to use you for their gain? How many times have people leaned on your goodness, your trust, your light, because they lacked their own? This moment is no different, except the scale is larger and the stakes higher. Archangel Michael says, do not tremble at their agenda. It cannot overpower the plan of heaven. What they whisper in shadows will soon be shouted from rooftops. Their motive will be exposed, and your name will shine, not as a pawn in their game, but as a chosen one in God's divine design. And so, the agenda is uncovered. But this is only one layer. What is happening behind their closed doors is also a reflection of something greater, the courtroom of the unseen realm, where your destiny is being weighed not by lawyers or celebrities, but by the Judge of all creation. Now that the agenda has been uncovered, I must take you higher, into a place where truth is never hidden and where no contract can escape judgment. For everything that happens in the earthly realm is only a reflection of what has already taken place in the spiritual. When your name was whispered in that legal meeting, it was not just the sound of earthly lips. It was the echo of a much greater trial unfolding in the unseen realm. There is a courtroom higher than any earthly court, greater than any judge or lawyer, where destinies are debated, where accusations are raised, and where verdicts are sealed. It is the courtroom of heaven. Do not be surprised, beloved, that your name is being argued over there. For every soul chosen by God is contested by the enemy. Satan is called the accuser, for a reason. He constantly tries to build cases against the children of light. He seeks loopholes, evidence, contracts, and accusations to block your destiny. And often, what plays out in earthly courtrooms and legal systems are simply shadows of what is being attempted in the higher courts of the unseen. Type Amen 7895 to get blessings. Archangel Michael says, you must know this, the moment your name was spoken in secret on earth, it was already known in heaven. The angels stood ready. The books of destiny were open. The Judge of all creation was present, and the Advocate, Christ Himself, stood to defend you. Do you see now why this matters? You are not helpless. While the world may attempt to bind your name in hidden contracts, heaven has already opened the scroll that declares your true purpose. And in heaven's courtroom, no lie can stand, no forged document can endure, and no false signature can cancel what God has decreed. Pause here and imagine this, a grand courtroom filled with light, yet with rows of watchful spirits. The enemy's lawyers approach, holding papers, pointing fingers, presenting arguments against you, accusations of unworthiness, attempts to connect you to things you never agreed to. And then, in that very moment, the advocate rises. He holds his hands out, pierced but radiant, and declares, "This one is mine. Their name is written in my blood. No contract formed against them shall stand." Your case is not being ignored. It is actively defended. While lawyers and celebrities plot behind earthly doors, your destiny is already secured in the higher court. What is whispered in secret meetings is but a faint noise compared to the thunderous voice of God declaring your name with authority and love. But this is where you must be vigilant. The enemy's goal is always to wear you down, to tempt you into fear, and to make you believe that his accusations are stronger than God's promises. This is why heaven reveals the truth to you now, so that you will not surrender to fear, but instead align yourself fully with the advocate who defends you day and night. Archangel Michael says, "Take courage, child. The gavel of heaven has already fallen in your favor. What men try to write against you will be torn. What the enemy accuses you of will be silenced. And your name will be vindicated before both heaven and earth." Type Amen 559 to get blessings. So let them whisper. Let them write. Let them scheme. In the courtroom of heaven, your name is spoken with authority, with honor, and with destiny. That is the verdict that truly matters. Now that you see your destiny is being weighed in both earthly and heavenly courts, you must be aware of the enemy's strategy. For the enemy has always been after one thing first, your name. Do you not remember how, in the garden, the serpent did not attack Adam and Eve's bodies first, but their identity? He whispered, "Did God really say?" He sowed doubt in their position as children of God. This is the same tactic he uses today. If he can corrupt your name, he can corrupt how others see you, and eventually how you see yourself. This is the trap being set before you now. The hidden contract with your name upon it is not just about paper, it is about identity theft in the spirit. If the enemy can attach your name to falsehoods, to scandals, to things you never agreed to, then he believes he can destroy your credibility and silence your voice. Archangel Michael says, "What they want is not your possessions, not even your wealth. What they want is the power of your name. For a good name is greater than riches, and whoever controls it can shape the path of your future." Think of how many lives have been ruined not by what they did, but by what others claimed they did. A false accusation, a twisted rumor, a fraudulent signature, these are weapons of destruction. And in this moment, there are forces attempting to bind your name to what does not belong to you. Have you ever noticed how suddenly a rumor can spread like fire? One whisper, one headline, one accusation, and a reputation that took years to build can collapse overnight. This is why heaven reveals the plot now, before the ink dries, before the trap is sprung. Because your name is too valuable to be handed over to deceit. But do not tremble, beloved. What the enemy means for evil, heaven is already turning for good. The trap they are setting is about to backfire. Type Amen 8495 to get blessings. Consider Haman in the days of Esther. He built gallows for Mordecai, preparing to destroy his name and his life. Yet those very gallows became the tool of Haman's own downfall. The same pattern is unfolding here. The enemy may be plotting to smear your name, but heaven has already decreed that the smear will rebound, exposing the ones who set the trap in the first place. Archangel Michael says, "Do not be dismayed when the shadow rises. The darker their schemes appear, the brighter your vindication will shine. Your enemies are weaving their own noose, and soon the truth will reveal itself. What they meant to destroy you will instead destroy their credibility. Beloved, understand this, your identity is sealed by heaven. No earthly document, no secret meeting, no whispered accusation can cancel what God has written over you. When others see only ink on paper, heaven sees covenant written in light. That is what you stand on, not their schemes, but God's promises. So guard your spirit. Refuse to agree with fear. Speak life over your name. For the enemy may set traps, but heaven has already marked you as untouchable. And while the enemy plots your downfall, heaven is preparing something else entirely, an unexpected opportunity hidden inside the very plan that was meant to harm you. Archangel Michael says, "What if I told you that the very trap being laid against you may actually hold the seed of your breakthrough? What if the contract they tried to use to destroy your name could, by divine reversal, become the key that elevates you to a place you never imagined?" This is the mystery of heaven. What the enemy designs for evil, God often transforms into a stage for his glory. Think of Joseph. His brothers signed him away with betrayal. Potiphar's wife signed false accusations against him. The prison guard signed his confinement papers. But in every contract meant to bind him, there was a hidden door that led him closer to his throne in Egypt. Every attempt to ruin his name became a stepping stone to reveal his destiny. Type Amen 8574 to get blessings. The same principle is unfolding in your life. The contract whispered in secret meetings could have been drafted with deception, but heaven has already written a higher clause into your story: redemption and elevation. Archangel Michael speaks, "Do not only see the darkness, child. See also the hidden light. For what they have written is not the final script." Heaven has inserted hidden lines of blessing inside the very pages they drafted against you. Pause and let this sink in. Could it be that your enemies, without even knowing it, are setting the stage for your promotion? Could it be that the celebrity who mentioned your name thought they were using you, but in reality, they were introducing your destiny to rooms of influence you were never meant to reach on your own? Beloved, sometimes God allows your name to be spoken in secret places because it is time for your name to be carried into realms of authority. They may believe they are exploiting you, but heaven is orchestrating the introduction. Look carefully at this divine irony. The very ones who intended to erase your credibility may actually become the ones who announce your arrival. The very papers meant to trap you could become the evidence of your vindication. This is how God works. Remember Esther. She was not supposed to be queen. She was an orphan girl, unknown, unseen. Yet, by what seemed like a worldly contest, her name was written into the king's book. Was it by accident? No, it was by divine strategy. And when the time came, the same position that others resented became the very role that saved her people. Type Amen 4950 to get blessings. Your story carries the same fingerprint of destiny. Heaven is whispering, "Do not fear their papers, for inside their attempt to bind you lies a door I myself have unlocked." This is why you cannot afford to respond with fear or anger. Instead, you must respond with trust. For if you panic, you might miss the hidden opportunity. But if you align yourself with heaven, you will see how the trap becomes a platform, how the accusation becomes an announcement, and how the whispered contract becomes a covenant of promotion. So take courage, beloved. You are not standing on the edge of destruction, you are standing at the edge of revelation. Their attempt to bury your name will become the reason your name rises. Their agenda to use you will become the reason heaven chooses to elevate you. Archangel Michael declares, watch closely. What they meant as a hidden snare will soon reveal itself as heaven's invitation. Do not shrink back. The opportunity hidden in this battle will set you in motion toward the destiny you were always meant to walk in. The trap is not the end. It is the threshold. And what happens next will depend on how you rise to play your role in this divine legal battle. Beloved, by now you see that what is happening is not just a matter of earthly papers or legal contracts, it is a spiritual battle. And though heaven fights for you, you also have a role to play. For no verdict is ever fully sealed without the agreement of the one whose name is at the center of the case. Yes, Archangel Michael and the heavenly hosts stand at your side. Yes, Christ is your eternal advocate, speaking your defense before the judge of all creation. But you are not called to be a passive observer. You are called to rise, to declare, to align yourself with heaven so that the enemy has no legal foothold to exploit. Archangel Michael says, your silence can be used against you. Your agreement with fear can empower the accuser. But your declaration of faith, your alignment with truth, and your refusal to agree with lies will seal heaven's verdict in your favor. Type Amen 3845 to get blessings. So what must you do? First, you must guard your agreement. Be careful what you say yes to. In both the natural and spiritual, contracts are signed through agreement. Sometimes it is not ink on paper, it is the silent consent of your heart. If fear convinces you that their lies are stronger than God's promises, you have unknowingly signed. If doubt convinces you that you are powerless, you have signed. Second, you must pray with intentionality. Do not offer vague words. Speak directly over your name. Call it forth into light. Say aloud, my name will not be tied to lies. My reputation will not be destroyed. My destiny is sealed by God, and no false contract shall bind me. For your voice carries authority, and every word you speak becomes a line written in the courtroom of the unseen. Third, you must live with vigilance. Do not be careless with your choices. Guard your associations, your actions, your words. The enemy is watching for loopholes, for opportunities to twist truth against you. But when you walk in wisdom, those doors remain shut. Beloved, pause here and reflect, have you unknowingly agreed to things you never should have? Have you let fear dictate your expectations? Have you remained silent while your destiny was being debated? This is the moment to reverse it. Heaven has given you power to rise, to tear down the accusations, and to establish your name in righteousness. Archangel Michael assures, you are not alone. Every time you speak truth, heaven echoes it. Every time you refuse the lie, angels strike it down. Every time you declare God's promise, it is stamped and sealed in the heavenly courts. Do not underestimate the weight of your role. You are not a victim being dragged into a courtroom, you are a co-heir with Christ, standing under his authority, fully empowered to claim the verdict already written in your favor. And soon, beloved, that verdict will be revealed. The final word is not destruction, but elevation. The hidden papers will not define you, the voice of heaven will. Beloved one, let us return to where this message began. A famous celebrity has mentioned your name in a secret legal meeting. Documents are being prepared. A hidden contract lies waiting for your signature, or perhaps it will be forced upon you without your awareness. The enemy is trying to tie your destiny to man's paper, man's judgment, and man's system. Type Amen 5859 to get blessings. Heaven already has a contract with you. Long before you were born, the Most High wrote your name in a heavenly scroll. This scroll is your destiny, your divine inheritance, your unshakable truth. It contains no lies, no manipulation, no hidden clauses. It is pure, radiant, and unchangeable. Yet, the forces of deception seek to present you with an earthly contract that may look shiny and promising on the outside, but is poisoned at its core. Do you see how the two are colliding right now? The contract of man, filled with hidden motives, selfish ambitions, and the risk of destroying your reputation. The contract of heaven, filled with divine favor, breakthroughs, protection, and the lifting of your name into positions of influence you never dreamed possible. This is why your spirit has felt pulled in two directions lately. It is why you may feel both fear and excitement, confusion and clarity at the same time. Heaven is speaking, but so are the forces of darkness. The real battle is not in the courtroom, not in the celebrity's words, not even in the contract itself, it is in the choice you make right now. You are standing at a threshold. If you remain unaware, passive, or doubtful, the wrong hands will claim authority over your destiny. But if you step boldly into faith, declaring, I choose heaven's contract. I reject deception. I align with God's truth, then no paper, no signature, no whispered scheme can bind you. Archangel Michael says. Archangel Michael is here with his sword of light to cut away every false agreement. Even as you read these words, chains are breaking. Hidden traps are being revealed. The names of those who secretly conspired against you are trembling in fear, for they know heaven has intervened. But here is the key, you must choose. Not with fear. Not with hesitation. But with conviction. You must declare over yourself. Choose boldly. Choose heaven. For your reputation, your elevation, and your destiny are about to be revealed, not by man's courtroom, but by God's throne.